Hi, Aaron. So it occurred to me that I hadn't shown you this. I described it to you, but I hadn't shown it to you. So I thought that maybe you would appreciate a look at what I thought we were going to see. Now, as I explained to you, because we're doing this trade deal with this batch of watches, it didn't even occur to me to think so much about what was inside this watch. I'm like, well, the front's intact and the watch is clearly original, and I didn't really dig into it. I hadn't really thought much about it. It's not something I'm proud of, but it is what it is. So I went to open this up, and I'm like, assuming that I'm going to see what I normally see in an older watch, and instead I saw this, and I went, oh dear. So the chronograph bridge is missing. Chronograph bridge is missing. Winding bridge, winding weight, of course. This hammer, this operating lever spring is missing. The finger for the intermediate wheel is gone off of this, and the chronograph wheel itself is bad. I mean, it's like I said, it's fine. I can figure it out, and I should have definitely checked on this. I just thought it was that you might enjoy seeing what I saw when I opened this watch. But don't worry about it. I'll figure it out. Believe me, I've figured out worse stuff. Okay, just thought you'd find that interesting. Thank you. Hi, Aaron. Okay, so here we are. This was, well, the good news is, there it is. There it is. You will remember before it was dusty and dirty and missing half of the back, half of the movement. What we didn't also see, and that the chronograph wheel was bad. What we also didn't see, and I didn't see until I took it apart, is there were actual bug carcasses inside the remains of the movement. Like there were literally like little teeny tiny, like dried up bits of like pupae or something inside. But it is complete. It is a runner. I'm extraordinarily, disgustingly proud of having brought this watch back. What I essentially did is, it always takes longer because I built this watch basically out of parts, which is always a big challenge because you have, some new parts and some worn parts that you're using, and you're choosing the best that you can to build the best possible movement. And it means that every single part that you're putting in, you kind of have to account for a little bit because it's going to have some personality. And that is what happened here. But the coolest thing that I'm most proud of is I saved your chronograph wheel, your original chronograph wheel. I don't know if you remember what it looked like, but the chronograph wheel is supposed to look like, here's a new chronograph wheel. Chronograph wheel is supposed to look like this. It's supposed to have this brass thing here with this date finger. This pushes over the minute counter. The one in your watch looked like this, where all that's left is the cam, and the chronograph, then the date finger piece is gone. Thankfully, that when I pulled yours out, I noticed after I cleaned it really deeply that the clutch was still holding, and that the wheel portion was flat and also holding. And I'm like, okay, so really I should be able to resurrect this if I can replace this, if I can get this. So I keep all my old bad chronograph wheels. What I did is I harvested another date finger like this, as well as, darn it, the retaining, that is the retaining washer. This gets staked down right here, and it holds this in place. And it was a challenge to make that work, and I had to do some fiddling to make that happen, but it did happen. So this watch that's your original chronograph wheel. Now, what's good about that is that because it's your original chronograph wheel, it was keyed to your original sweep hand, and so it was important for me to not have to restake that hand and distort the tube. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pause, and I'm going to put this thing together. But I'm very happy with how it came out so far. But I'm going to pause, put it together, and then have you look at it again. Okay, so I have it all together here. This watch, interestingly enough, the clasp is monogrammed, which I thought was wild. RPR. whoever RPR was, he wore this watch a lot, and it lived an active life. And it shows. But everything's clean and stable now. I did reloom the hands because they were just disgusting and falling apart. I matched the white of the loom more or less to the white of the markers of these numbers here, rather than to anything else that was around here. I considered painting the hands orange again, but I actually tried it with the sweep hand, and it looked really kind of weird and out of place. So I wanted to just leave it as it was. There it is. Now, one thing, I don't know your wrist size, but these JDM speed timers often came from Seiko with a clasp extender, and I can look to see if I have one of those if you need it. He also, whoever RPR was, he wore this on the English settings. So, and they're fairly faded, but the Japanese JDM settings are quite unfaded. I have the reset click a little light, just because I like it that way, especially with 6138s. So you may, unless you push it super duper firmly, you may notice that the reset's a little draggy. I specifically made it that way. There it is. That's your chronograph wheel. I am so incredibly proud of having saved your chronograph wheel. Anyway, back from the dead. Back from the dead. I can't imagine anybody would have, in years past, would have, done the work necessary to restore this watch and bring it back to life, but it was a wonderful challenge, and I had lots of fun doing it, and this is now a completely usable timepiece with a lot of history on it. JDM with his original bracelet and original end pieces. And again, I'll look for that clasp extender if you need. I'd guess this will probably fit a 7-inch wrist, maybe? I don't know. Let's see. I'm a 7.5 right now. Let's see where it's at. Well, it doesn't feel bad. It's just a little tight on me. It's probably 7.25. So you tell me what it is. You tell me what you need, and we will go from there. And that's really about it. It was an incredibly fun challenge. And I learned new things. That's the great thing. My old tutor said, and he was in his 80s when he said this to me, he said, the great thing about this job is that every day we learn something new. And that's certainly true. Every day we learn something new. Today we learned how to bring back a Kakume. Isn't that cool? All right. Thank you so much.